Very unique. I was looking up the word entity and showed up on a Canadian website under entity selection, dealing with businesses and operating, of course, in the world of legal. And it said in Canada, an entity assumes its form upon registration or incorporation. Now, you have to really look at that statement there. It says in Canada, an entity assumes. Now, the word assume means deceit, fraud in law. So, in essence, it said in Canada, an entity or a fraud assumes its form upon registration. Now, remember, the registration of birth is a separate date from the birth date. It's completely separate. They have a registration date and then there's a birth date. But uniquely, they never ask you for the registration date when someone's asking you for the ID situation that seems to occur, whether someone's being carded or provide papers of who you are. The officer is a little confused himself because he always says date of birth, but the date of birth has nothing to do with the registration date when the entity assumes its form in their system. So the registration date is really when the entity that they're dealing with comes into being. So it has nothing to do with the birth date. We call people that kind of take advantage of things predators because they're predators. They'll predate the surname showing up on the record on the same date as the given name on the birth date, but their only name that the parents had authority to give the child on the birth date was really the given name, because that's all they really had. They're assuming they have legal claim to the surname and then place it on there. But in actuality, the registration date and the given name on the birth date are two separate dates, two separate things going on at two separate places. And in fact, maybe that's the alibi to it. I wasn't at the same place at the same time when the two names got on the record, because they're not. They're done differently and at different times. So the registration is completed not at the hospital. It's completed by the Vital Statistics Act trustees who handle that. So it has nothing to do with the two dates. So the two dates are completely different. So really the officer probably on the road would be far better to ask you for your registration date than your birth date, but he asked for the birth date, which merges the two names together. And in fact, the only thing that he has really probably authority in law to ask you for would be the assigned surname that you had no consent to have placed down on the record anyway. So it's a situation of knowledge. We're not here to cause chaos. We're just here to walk in truth and peace. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar means what is Caesar's, and Caesar doesn't have your God-given name. So should you be giving Caesar that? Or has it been the problem that too many registered Christians with registered religions that are receiving tax exemptions are too busy with confused misinformation that they're not getting from the Bible? I hope we're reading the same book. Caesar does not have authority over your God-given name, and especially when you become a baptized Christian, that name is now Christ. So one is Christ and one is Caesar's. Don't mix the two together and you won't have a problem.